Okay, let's jump into this and get on with an extremely boring video which everybody's going to hate, but unfortunately it's one of those things we have to do. Now, what we're going to do in this video is purely look at the code files that you're going to need to do, adjust, copy and change to get your characters to work as bots, and in the next video as you play a mesh. Okay, so where do I find, as you can see here, I've got it all lined up, nice and pretty, but hang on a minute, where did I get these from? Right, let's just go into it, not into there. As you can see, I'll keep little files to say what I've done, where and when. So what we need to do is to go into your UDK installed directory or folder, go into source, UT game, classes. Now, before we go any further, being an ex-modder, one of the big no-nos that we used to have was that you would never ever change any of the original code files. Now, with UDK and with my programming skills, we're going to have to bypass that rule, and we're actually going to go in and add files and change files in the UT game classes folder. Now, there may be ways to get around this. Unfortunately, I don't know, but the things that we're going to have to start looking at, okay, is UT character info, well, UT car info. You can guess that's character, and that's quite an important one. And when we get to them, here we go. UT FamilyInfo, UT FamilyInfo Liandry, and Liandry Mail. Now, as you can see here, I've got GeoBodge and GeoGuy ones. I'll show you one of them in a minute, but all they purely are is renamed versions of the Liandry. Okay, so let's go have a look at these. Now, let's start off with the UT FamilyInfo.uc. Now, as you can see, it extends from object, whatever that is, and depends on UT pawn. So they are interlinked. Okay, this is why we're having to add the stuff in the UT game folder classes folder set, because if we don't, it just don't recognize things, and you're making more work than is required on such a basic setup that we're doing. All right, let's have a look in here. There's variables, texture, default, head, portrait. You ever seen one of them in UDK? No. Some of these things are legacy from UT3, and some of them are not. So you just have to grin and bear it and play along. And when you actually go to make your own game, remember these are ways to do things. Okay. The main things we're going to be looking at is a variable string family ID, variable string faction, variable skeletal mesh character mesh, the team body materials, head materials, arm mesh packages. Ringing some bells here. A lot of people are asking at the moment how to do these things, how to get them working. It's in the family info code. Okay. What else we got in there? Physics assets, anim sets, left foot bone, right foot bone. Not sure where that's coming from. Well, actually, I have dug into this a little bit more, but I'm not going to go there in this video because it would take hours to cover everything that's shown here. Now, other little things, UT pawn sound group, it's a class. UT voice, it's a class. Yeah. So you can have for each family your own voice sets, your own sound groups, and if necessary, your subgroups as well. So you could have, say, like the Landry, the normal Landry character, and if you've got a special character, you can give them a special voice set, things like that. I've mentioned, go on to the material instant constants. I've mentioned this in the materials videos for the characters. Base MIC parent has to be entered in here, otherwise it might not work. Okay, looking at other things, emissive colors, tint colors, emotes, could be something important in there. Okay, other little bits, it's all annotated what these things do. Yeah, Epic's been very, very kind and putting a lot of information in here, and I'm not going to deal with it all. You can read through, and it's fairly self-explanatory. Even somebody like me with zero code skills can sort of like understand where it's coming from. How to write it all is beyond me, but I can read it, so we can get there. You got things like your team materials, your emote groups, things like that. This is where we start having fun and games. This is where I do a lot of my work, he said. Well, I go back and look at things and go, ooh, that's nice. Anyway, default properties. Left foot bone, right foot bone. Take physics, it hits on these. Yeah. You find all this sort of stuff is interlinked with other things. Like your pawn, your UT pawn, your UT bot, all things like that. They'll get effects and things that refer to this sort of information. Yeah, so if you find something's not working, have a look in here and you might find the link ups to them. Here's other ones that you might like. Family emotes. You do your taunts, your orders, your status, inventory. You're like, woohoo. But this is how things get called. Yeah, and it's all linking back into here. Alright, head gore shot socket name. Well, if you remember when we done the mesh video, I mentioned the sockets. This is where one of them gets called. And you can, I'm sure you've got the knowledge to understand when it says headshot gore, what's that's going to do. You blow somebody's head off and all the blood and guts come out of that bit. Okay, so you want that positioned around the neck area. Another one that you might like to have a look at is the blood emitter class. The UT game emitter blood spray could be important. That's your basic setup for all your family classes. Yeah, so we'll just, that was a quick run through on there. Other things that we're going to now look into is the Liandry class, which extends. Now here you see they've actually set the family ID and the faction. Okay, this is important if you're trying to do a team game, which I found out recently. Anyway, you set the character mesh. This is pretty much the default character mesh for the whole family group. And again, the materials, V reds, V blues, for your teams. Again, arm meshes, package name, skin package, mesh package name, skin pack. Why are they separate? Don't know. Physics asset, yet again, anim sets. Now, as you can see here, right, it says anim sets in brackets 0. Now, what I've done in one of my other projects is, because I wanted different seating positions for my vehicles, I created an extra anim set, put it into the family, the base family, and just put in here anim sets in brackets 1 equals anim set blah 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 blah, and it worked a treat. So you don't have to go in and actually add your anims to this anim set. You can actually just create an extra anim set, put it in here, well, put the code directing it to here, and off you go. Now, yet again, reiterating the base material instant constant parent. need to be put in here, because if you don't, the chances are that your meshes will be invisible because they'll be showing absolutely no materials on them because it doesn't know what to look for or it's confused. Okay, so biodeath mic parent, we don't actually use in UDK the old bio splurge gun type thing, but have a look at it. You might want to use something along those lines for a reason. Maybe that's why they've left it in. And again, sound group for the, in this case, the Landry, the voice, robot, okay, headshot, particle effects. This is all the sort of things you should be looking at if you're wanting to have a similar game type as the old Unreal Tournament, but you can always use these things as a case of, oh, that's how they done that. Well, maybe I can use it to do something similar, if you know what I mean. Just a little sort of like heads up. Yeah, this is how Epic done it. Yeah, it gives you ideas instead of trying to reinvent the wheel from scratch. Now, yet again, blood effects. Now, the chances are when I play these, you're not going to see anything like that because my system's German and the Germans don't like it. Okay, a bit too brutal. Now, other little things that you might want to watch out for is default mesh scale. So if you find your mesh is a little bit too small or a little bit too big, you can scale it here. Okay, I don't advise you putting in scales of sort of like 2, 3, 5 because that just upsets a whole load of other things. So try your best to get it right at the start with the size and scale of your mesh, and use this area in the code just as a little tweak. Okay, and obviously because you're doing it in the FamilyInfo, if you say like you want some of the extended versions to be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, give you a little bit of variation on the same mesh, then you can do it this way. And obviously base translation offset here set to 14. If you find your mesh is sort of floating on above the ground or his feet are sinking into the ground, you can change it here. Because don't forget, the programmers are not always the same person that's doing the graphics, the meshes, the animations, and all the rest of it. It's just little possibilities that Epic have built in here to allow the coder to tweak things. Okay, now next one, FamilyInfo mail. Okay, this is where we just change things from the main family group. Okay, so you've got your family ID. I'll show you. Well, I can't show you because I haven't gone that far myself. But what you can do is, obviously, you've got Landry male here, or Lyandry, or however you pronounce it. Now, in UT3, you had females as well, which would be a different skeletal mesh, different arms, materials, slightly different physics assets because they'd have bouncy bits on them. Well, no, okay, not bouncy bits, but different cloth items. There we go. Well, not so much in the Lyandry, they were in the Necris. So things like that. You can set these up, and good idea to make sure it's all set as it is here. Yeah, yet again, base mic parent, instant constant, blah 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 blah. I know I'm going on and on and on about these things, but it is important. Okay, and I don't want you to be sat there for days on end giving it, why can't I see my characters? Your materials. Okay, not forgetting your arm meshes, your materials for your arms, blah blah blah. Okay, carrot and mesh. Now, quick run through. GeoBodge. Does this look like something you recognise from a couple of minutes ago? Yep, it certainly does. All I've done is change the family, change the faction, physics asset. I've still got the base male anims. I forgot to change that. We'll see if it works. It might not. We'll go for gold on that. Now, if I'm lucky, see, okay. I forgot to change the base mic parent on the main family, but on the actual character, I have. Okay, I haven't changed the physics asset, but we can get away with that sometimes. But I have changed it here on the base MIC parent. Okay, we've got the mesh. I've not got any arms, so don't worry about it. Right, I know I've been going on lots and lots and lots about this slot. Where do we go from here? Well, once you've got all this slot set up and saved, saved into your UT game classes folder. Right, there we are. We then go on to the UT character info. Now, I'll just quick run through here. Config car info, yeah, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Right, custom AI data, I'm not going to deal with that. So a structure for defining pre-made characters in the game, yeah, whatever. Now, how much is this actually used now? I can't say, but because I'm not a coder, I'll keep on going on about that. Your character infos. As you can see here, that this is still sort of like looking at the UT custom character ini. Well, it's not called that anymore, but it's there anyway. Right, same again for the families. Your LOD factors, which you can actually, well, it says here you can set via your ini files. Whether that works, but it's yet again, it's options for the coder to be able to tweak instead of actually going into every single mesh file and doing it there. Okay, UT family info, find family info, family ID, blah blah blah. If you can read that, you're doing better than me. Right, get random character class name, yeah, whatever. In the default properties, when you open this file originally, you will just see the Liandry male. Copy, paste, add in our guys, GeoBodge and GeoGuy, the male, not the base family one. Okay, the one that's extended. Yeah, the one with all the mesh information. Okay, we'll just put a couple of backslashes in there because we don't want any robots anymore, because we've got past that. Right, once you've got all that done, you'll be ready for compiling, he said. Not quite. Okay, so we then go into the default character info. Where do we find this? Let me just show you. Here we go. UDK game. Right. Let's just click on that so you can, in your UDK folder setup, UDK game, config, default car info ini. Okay. Now in here, quite important. Alright, these are the names that we're looking for, the predefined characters. These are the names that will show up when you press F1 on your leaderboard or your scoreboard or whatever it is. A lot of this information does no longer get used because that's the old UI scenes content, not really picked up and expanded on scale form. But I suppose if you know how to do it, you can still use it. But the main things we're looking for here at the moment, the characters, character name, in this case D geodav. Now I've prefixed, get it right, the characters with D's and C's for my two factions that I'm playing with. Okay, so very, very exciting names. Yeah, looking at the C group, you got Bob and Pat, you got Dipsy, Lala, Poe. Itsy and Bitsy. Watching too many kiddies programs, I think there. Now, original names helps a bit of organisation. Now, if we go along here a little bit, try and get it in the middle. Character IDs have to be original, or not original, unique is the term I'm looking for. Okay, so you got A, C, B, D, not really in order. I've been messing about with my copy and paste, but they have to be unique within each faction. Okay, so you can have A, B, C, D up to Z in one faction and the same again into the next faction. If for whatever reason it causes you problems, you don't have to use single letters. You could say have DAV A, DAV B, DAV C, so long as the character ID is unique. Okay, right, next thing we're on. Well, you've seen here strings, UI game, descriptions, same with the portraits. That's all legacy content, and this is where we get into the last important bit on the characters in the ini file is the family ID. Now you can see here Geo Guy as my let's see if I can go back a little bit to my, where is it? I can't see it. Okay, faction, there it is. God, I'm blind today. Alright, faction Dav, family Geo Guy. I haven't got it up here, so we'll look at Geo Bodge, and the faction is Corp. Now if we go into Geo Bodge, family ID Geo Bodge, faction Corp, family Geo Bodge. Okay, that's where that comes from. Make sure it's in the ini files, otherwise things will get confusing. Okay, so that's it for that lot. For the factions, this is yet again legacy stuff from UT3. How much the game uses at the moment, not a lot from looks of things, because you got preview images, you got descriptions and friendly names and a faction. I don't think it's really necessary at the moment, but that's the way it goes. And here you've got your LOD, your level of display 1 infos. You'd have to actually sort of like try and compare that in game, yeah, because normally I know with the Landry LOD, the first LOD comes in at something like 0.85 or something. Okay, so what we'll just do as a last resort is start the game up. He said hopefully. Were click click. I did say at the beginning this is going to be a long video, and it is. Okay, nah. As you can see, I was working on something else. yes. Unfortunately, yet again, things that it's old age getting to me. Forgetting to change things like the splash screen back to what it should have been. Yeah, okay then. Let's see if this comes up correct. Instant action game mode, DC game, map, corp test, start the game, and see what we get. Not a lot of light in here, but you might just about make out that, well, if I press F1, you can see I've got a mixture of D and C, and I don't know why, but we're here now because got the flashlight that I was playing around with for one of the other guys. I've just been zapped. And we get an error. Never mind. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Because that, for some reason that worked yesterday and it's not today. Okay. That's enough of that. But you actually saw it's using our family info. Okay, so the next video we're going to be looking at making it use our family infos for our actual player. Okay, so I'll see you soon on that.